We are both scarred from our audio issues on a 2.5 hour long episode that we have to completely re-record.
You know what? I'm excited that I get to talk to you about this game again for another 2 hours. Right?
We can't do this for another 2 hours. We'll try. We'll try to have an equally good, in-depth discussion that maybe isn't a full 2.5 hours this time.
I will attempt to feign surprise when you say breathtakingly new and vibrant things that I maybe have heard before.
Oh my gosh. I'm really sorry that we can't give you our fresh, hot, unfiltered takes on this game. We'll do our best. I think the other thing that to mention before we jump into it is, I know Bridget mentioned it, but if you didn't listen to the Oops, We're Late podcasts, we will come back to Silent Hill later.
Especially since it got some Game Award noms.
It did get some Game Award noms. Here, that's something that we can add, a little fresh thing. There's Game Award stuff.
Yeah.
And it's pretty boring.
I'm pretty underwhelmed. I'm pretty whelmed. Pretty
whelmed. It was just a whelming year for gaming to me.
I would agree with that. Last year was just so good that I feel like anything would feel whelming this year. You know what I mean?
Last year was insane.
Yeah. And this year, I feel like even for the games that we've been playing, some of them just really haven't hit in the way that so many of the ones we played last year did.
I think last year we just can't compare because it was just too good.
But yeah, we can do a little on topic, off topic after this 2.5 hour episode, right, Maddie?
Totally. I think we've just done the on topic. We have completed the on topic.
Yes. Well, we didn't talk about the controversy with a DLC being nominated.
That's true. We should touch on that really quickly. So at first I was anti, but now I'm kind of like, meh.
I think my immediate gut reaction was like, how do you even judge it if it's just DLC because it's based on the rest of the game mechanics?
Yeah.
But everything online was saying that it's like 30 hours long, and that's longer than a lot of games. So I feel like I'm more mixed on it now that I am staunchly against. And I feel like I could only be staunchly against if I actually played it and then was like, no, that's dumb. But I haven't, so I can't be. Let us know your thoughts. Should DLC be allowed to be Game of the Year? I don't know. Is it a game? Game of the Year. It's kind of in the name, but whatever. Okay.
Yeah, and then of the Game of the Year list, I feel like we're probably not going to play Final Fantasy.
No.
Probably not gonna play Metaphor ReFantazio, even though I am interested in it. It's really long, so it's not realistic for us to finish it for this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Astrobot is the maybe for me.
Yeah,
I think
people said it was a really good platformer, so
yeah, I feel like we could play that one.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, what's interesting about Final Fantasy getting a nom is I kind of didn't hear good things about it.
I didn't hear much of anything about it. Maybe I'll ask my brother since he's the Final Fantasy person.
Yeah.
But he really he plays the online stuff. I don't know that he plays the rest of the series, so I'm not even sure. And honestly, I don't know that I've ever heard anyone in my loop talk about it.
No,
which is kind of crazy.
Same with the Black Myth Wukong. I've also not really heard a ton about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a very mixed year. It's just a category of games I do not play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe, I don't know. Last year we spent some Christmas time poking at the different ones to see if there are ones that we liked. Maybe we'll do a little bit of that. But
yeah, maybe we can just jump in and see what we think. So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, great. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are we ready for Life is Strange Double Exposure?
Double time, double trouble, second time.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? We are double exposing our episode. Oh my God. Brain blast.
Amazing.
With the theme.
Hi, I'm Bridget.
And I'm Maddie. Welcome to Baddy Breakdowns, where we hang out, have fun, and play games all the way to the end. Today, we're going to talk about Life is Strange Double Exposure. We'll give you the breakdown from its creation to its critical reception. Then we'll take you on a deep dive into the game as we share our own experiences and opinions while playing it. We'll close with if we recommend it, who we'd recommend it to, and last but not least, our personal rating. With that, let's date Amanda. But you didn't laugh this time like the first time. Because you knew I was going to say that.
If I remember right, I discussed how that was, in fact, the highest priority of this game, and I still stand by that. And I'm also in my head thinking about, like, what if I rate it differently than the first time? I guess I'll find out. I don't remember. I don't know. We'll find out. Okay. You have description today.
Yeah, I have game description. When Max Caulfield finds her friend Safi dead in the snow, she tears open the way to a parallel timeline. Here, Safi is still alive and still in danger. With her new power to shift between two timelines, can Max solve and prevent the same murder?
It's still wild to me that the murder was just put up front, who it was going to be and how the game was going to work. I don't know. It's just surprising to me.
I feel like it's because that's the hook. Like, the parallel timelines is the hook. So you have to mention it. But how do you mention it without mentioning how that happens? Well, I guess they could do something like
her friend.
Max Caulfield finds her friend dead in the snow. She tears open a way to a parallel timeline where her friend is still alive and still in danger. Yeah, it works.
And then you wouldn't know that it was Safi. You might think, oh, maybe it's Moses.
That's true.
Or maybe it's Amanda. I mean, see?
That would be tragic.
Devastating. Incredibly incorrect and the wrong move.
Okay, how it's made, Bridget. Oh, speaking of Game Awards and how it's made, really quickly, did you see that the voice actress for Max got a nomination for Best Actress?
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, Hannah is, I think, her name?
Hannah Tell. Yeah. Yep. Anyways, okay, go for it, Bridget.
Right. So for how it's made, this game was made by Deck 9. So if you remember, in our last episode, we talked about Don't Nod, who made the original Life is Strange. But Deck 9 took over and made quite a few in the Life is Strange universe now. So they made True Colors, they made Before the Storm, which is the prequel that focuses on Chloe. And then they actually made the remastered collection of the original and Before the Storm, like, combined. And then now they are making this one, Double Exposure. The Deck 9 game director was Jonathan Stoddard, and then the narrative director was, hopefully I say this right, Felice Kwan. And then as we get into some of the information that I have, a lot of it comes from them, but it also comes from one of the writers, Aisha Farah. There are quite a few people who worked on this, so I'm just calling those folks out because they're the ones that I got some fun information on. The information actually is primarily from a set of interviews from PAX, which is, if you remember from a few episodes ago, I talked about going to that talk about Life is Strange Double Exposure. And then a lot of reporters went and talked to the folks on the panel afterwards to get some of that information. So I just have a little bit. I don't have too much today, mostly because I think it just came out, but also because a lot of that content came from the same sort of talk in the same situation. So it's a lot of overlap. Okay. So first, I wanted to talk a little bit about why they decided to go back to Max. This series has been an anthology series since it started, and there were a few answers kind of trickled across the different articles that I read around why they decide they wanted to go back to Max. First, they mentioned, it was a really big choice. They wanted to be really thoughtful about when they made it. So they wanted, first and foremost, to make sure Max actually had another story to tell, which meant maybe waiting some time. So maybe not doing immediately after, giving Max some time to grow, to have that space in her trauma with whatever happened in game one, depending on your ending. Mm-hmm. And then also thinking about the audience and about how you kind of grew up with her a little bit, because Max was a teenager, and now waiting so long, I think about 9 years, you've grown into the adult space. And so that other kind of reason was when you're a kid, you make much different choices and a different approach. You like generally have a different approach to things than you do when you're an adult and you've kind of had different situations before that you've experienced. And in this case, they're like, hey, this game is so much about choice. If we wait long enough for Max to be older and an adult, we can really embrace and think about the different ways that you approach choice as a teenager versus choice as an adult, which I thought was interesting. Personally, I think it was for the money. That hits differently when I mentioned that the last time recorded, but I do think it was a little bit the money. Like, if we're just being real, this is a capitalist society and everyone loves Max, and like,
I feel like her storyline was the most compelling of all the Life is Strange's, and so it makes sense that they would want to revisit that.
I think there's also just something nostalgic about the first, you know what I mean? Like the first thing that you fell in love with, the first experience of the game and the mechanics and how it worked. And I do appreciate that when we go back to Max now, the powers are a little bit different. It's not just like the exact same game. But I do think it's a little bit of like, hey, you know, I like Max because Max is the first experience that I had with this series. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that I think that makes sense, and I think it was a good decision to revisit. I feel like there's more to tell with her story, so I do like it. And nostalgia is having a big moment right now.
Nostalgia will always have a big moment for me because I'm old now, so
yeah.
Everything is going to be nostalgic.
Yep.
Okay, the other thing that I'll mention is they did try to keep some personality traits of Max to make sure that she was familiar, even as a grown-up.
Which we did notice.
Yes, which we definitely noticed. She kept her really terrible, corny jokes. She continues to talk to inanimate objects as if they are real. And then they did bring back the same voice actress. So Hannah Tell, as Maddie mentioned, who got a nom for this year for her voice acting, which is awesome, came back and revoiced the role. The little interview that I saw with her was really cute. You could tell she was super connected to the character of Max and that she was really excited to come back to it. You could tell that she wasn't certain if she was going to be able to ever come back because it is an anthology series. But she said that she also kind of grew up with Max and felt kind of close to her. So she was really excited to see her story continue.
Yeah.
The next thing that I want to talk a little bit about is Chloe. So first Max, now Chloe. They talk about in a lot of the interviews that I read that the save that you play is one where you actually sacrifice Chloe. So I know that we're going to get into it, but they literally say that like you are starting from a place of sacrificing Chloe, even though you do technically have an option to quote unquote replant the flag, which was a little bit confusing, like set of wording for me, but they primarily said like, yeah, you're playing from that starting point. You can kind of replan it based on some conversation that you have. But then at the end of the day, the flavor of trauma changes for Max based on like whether or not at the end of the last game you chose to sacrifice Chloe or sacrifice the Bae. And I know because we've had this conversation already, we're going to get into that because they do lean really heavily in one direction, and that direction is the sacrifice Chloe direction. So if anyone is interested in the tech bits, it was made with Unreal, and this is the first time that they did 100% real-time lighting, which I thought turned out really, really successfully. I thought it was a beautiful game.
The graphics were beautiful. Yeah.
Yes, it did totally F over my handheld. My handheld did not handle the graphics well, but when I was playing on my computer, it was in fact beautiful. And that's it. That's all I got.
Yay. Woo. Okay. My critical reception is going to be really short because I remembered that when I wrote this section, it was literally like I researched it right before going in, so I didn't take a ton of notes, and now I have forgotten. But I have... I don't know. This is a mess, dude. This is a fucking mess.
No, we can do this. We can do this.
Thank you to our loyal listeners. This conversation is still going to be good, I promise.
It is. We have so much to say. And it'll be more, yeah.
This game has mixed reviews on Steam, and which means almost as much people that recommend it don't recommend it.
Right.
It has a 73 on Metacritic, which is actually like pretty high, I think.
Yeah.
A lot of critics really enjoyed it and said that they liked revisiting the character of Max again, and that the setup was good, and it felt like a nice continuation of the first game.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is that it has a 4 out of 10 user score on Metacritic, which is pretty low.
That is really low.
And those negatives really stemmed from two things. The first thing being the standard anti-woke whatever.
Right. Screw
bullshit.
those guys. Yeah.
The second one is Chloe fans.
Pricefield.
Pricefield fans hated it, which is something that we're definitely going to talk about. And so I don't want to fully spoil it now, but that is what was driving the bulk of the negatives.
Mm-hmm. I'd be interested to know if anyone started off with this game without playing the original, or if it's only people from the original.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's someone that we could find.
Searching out there somewhere.
Yeah.
But I feel like you're right. You end up with a mixed review because if I think the 50 chose Chloe and or was like 49 and 51.
Yeah, it was almost literally half and half.
Yeah, that was split between Save the Bay or Save Chloe. And so if you end up having 50% of your audience like really like one storyline, and then you make a game that doesn't lean super heavily into supporting that storyline, you're gonna disappoint half of your fan base, which is kind of a crazy risk to take, honestly.
Totally. And I just don't know if they nailed that successfly. But let's go ahead and jump in.
Yeah. First impressions? First impressions. My main first impression was just how pretty this game was. Yeah.
And the music, again, was phenomenal, which it was very good in the first game as well, but they continued that with this game.
Yeah.
And I also really loved the setting. Like, I wanted to live in this Vermont liberal arts college town. Like, it's so cute and fun. And it, like, I literally was cute. Like redfinning houses in Burlington. Like,
are you leaving me to go live in this fake world that you've created?
Well, it also just made me think that working at this liberal arts college might be really fun too. Like, I don't know. I was really drawn to the setting of this game. And
it was cute.
And the characters within it. Like, I really liked Moses and Amanda, and all of that I thought was quite good.
Mm-hmm. They also set it during Christmas time, so it was very like quaint with all the snow and the fireplaces and stuff like that.
And the changing leaves. Like, there was some like changing leaves, and not everybody gets seasons. I mean, we do, but
yeah. I think for me, I just +1 all the things that you said. The biggest change, honestly, right from the beginning was, one, Max can have clothes now. I'm perpetually jealous because Maddie got cute clothes and I got the garbage base clothes, which
really
are fine.
Quick. If you listen to this podcast and you know who you are, thank you for the hookup for the game and the Ultimate Edition. Thank you.
And
it
you
was
know
very
what?
fun.
Screw
I really enjoyed my
no,
outfits. I really enjoyed my outfits that were part of the digital deluxe edition, mainly centering around cat themed outfits.
Yes, and you actually got a cat.
And I got
we'll
a cat.
Get there, but
yeah.
What? Okay. I don't know how much more expensive it was, and I don't know how much content was actually included in it. So I don't know if I can actually vouch for paying the extra money. But I will say I was jealous watching Maddie play with her cat.
Yep.
The only other thing that I will mention for first impressions is they start off right away where it's clear that you do not have the rewind powers anymore. So it is starting from scratch. I'm Max and I'm normal just like you, ? But other than that, like, the beginning hops right into the story with a new friend that honestly seems like she might be the new Chloe. I literally wrote, who is Safi and is she the new Chloe? And that's where we start.
The the Ultimate Edition is $80 and the Standard Edition is $50. So
that's
it is
a lot.
$30 extra dollars for all of the cat content and the outfits, which was about like 15 minutes of content.
Yeah, I don't think I would have paid that. I mean, there's a reason I didn't buy it in the first place, but
I don't think it's worth it. I mean, the outfits are really cute though. But
check out Maddie's stream if you want to see the cute outfits and the cat.
I wonder if Twitch deleted it.
Oh no.
Twitch
Maybe don't check out Maddie's.
Twitch doesn't keep them forever unless you're like a higher watched channel.
Okay, come back. Okay. I don't think that I would have paid $30 for that content.
Yeah, there's videos. It doesn't save it. But yeah.
I think I would have paid probably like $5 to $10 for that content. Probably more like $5, realistically. But they would have priced it at $10.
I think what they could have done that would be successful is selling the outfits individually.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
And like then you could buy the cat outfit for a couple bucks. That might work.
Yeah. But either way, I didn't realize it was $30 extra. That's kind of insane.
Yeah. For all of the outfits. There's like a medium one that is $60. So it's $10 more, and you get 2 extra outfits.
No, too high price. I'm too cheap for me. Or I'm too cheap for that. You know what I mean? Do we want to do a quick summary of the first chapter?
Yes, but you're going to have to do it because I don't have notes yet.
Right. Yes. So for the first chapter, you start off in a dilapidated bowling alley. Max likes to hang out in abandoned places, you find, and she likes to take pictures of stuff that looks all lonely and decrepit, which is
again
horrifying.
The pictures were not that good. And I also set out on a quest to annoy Bridget because I was streaming it and make the photos as bad as possible.
And when she says as bad as possible, I need y'all to understand that I'm not talking like, oh, she like barely off-centered the bottles or whatever. We literally had to take a picture of this space, whatever, planets in the sky. And she did everything in her power possible to not get any planets in the goddamn picture. And then it captions it underneath, look at these pretty planets, or whatever kind of BS it was. Oh, God.
I loved it because it posted it like it was a good photo. And everybody was like, wow, gorgeous, stunning photo.
Snaps. Yes, they definitely made us complicit in the bad photography, which is mildly upsetting, but that's fine.
Yeah.
You meet Safi, who, as we know from the description, is unfortunately the one who we find in the snow later. And they're, like, cute. I don't know. They seem like good friends.
Yeah.
And they explore this little area for a bit. They end up going back afterwards to a bar. We're seeing it seems almost like they're just daily life. And then once you get to this bar, you have this cute little moment where you have the chance to flirt with the bartender, who I think also owns the bar. We decided that she owned the bar, right?
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. So Amanda, she owns the bar. She has adorable little space buns. We love Amanda. And
best character.
You get your first, I guess, 2 sets of big choices here. The first is to decide whether or not you killed Chloe or you sacrificed the Bae. And then you also get the chance to decide whether or not you're going to date Amanda, which in my opinion are probably 2 of the most impactful choices of the game.
That's so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for that first choice of whether you saved the Bae or saved Chloe, we picked what we had picked. So yes. I had chosen to save Chloe. And so I went with that option. And then you went with save the Bae for your option.
Yeah, which means Chloe is full on dead in this universe. But everybody else is alive.
Chloe was alive in mine. And this is where I think we can even start to talk about the differences. Because immediately after that choice, one of the things that is kind of a key mechanic is you have a social media. And you have text messages just like the old game as well, but it's like obviously like a better UX experience for all of this. Better. Yeah. And then you have a journal that is Max's like personal journal, which actually was quite cool. Like it had really cool hand-drawn illustrations.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially the journal is Max journaling to Chloe.
Yeah. Whether she's alive or dead.
Whether she's alive or dead. And this is where it started on my whole feeling throughout this entire game while playing it, that it just doesn't work as well when Chloe's alive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of the Chloe death is honestly flavor, like the actual tangible differences, right? Because you open up your phone and like I got Joyce on my feed and she's talking about dating around and having cats and stuff like that. And you got Chloe flirting with Victoria, kind of?
Yeah, Chloe's in. So what I got was Chloe is in New Orleans and she's like hanging out with Victoria a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting thing, though, is if you sacrifice Arcadia, Victoria shouldn't be alive.
Yeah, I didn't think she should be. Somebody can check us on that, but...
Anyways, whatever. And the other thing that I got was a text message, like an old text message thread that talked about how they had broken up because Chloe pretty much didn't trust Max to not rewind their interactions.
Yeah.
And she was like, I just can't be in a relationship where someone can try to optimize it for the outcome that they want every time.
Yeah.
Which was pretty sad, like, and insulting to Max to like not trust her to not do that.
Yeah. But I think we talked about it a little bit, honestly, even in our last episode for the original Life is Strange. But Chloe never really even felt like a soulmate to Max. Like, it felt like Max liked Chloe so much more than Chloe liked Max. So I do think it tracked...
chemistry in their kiss.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it tracked that they were like, oh, well, they'd just break up. But then you get to this whole game, which is all about, honestly, Max's trauma and of what happened with that choice. And like all of the actual tangible storylines that happen here around the trauma feel like they're so much geared towards Chloe just being dead.
Totally.
And they make so much more sense that way.
And even here at the beginning, it makes more sense when you're looking at your text messages. Because to be honest, if I even think right out the gate, I can understand why people who really wanted Chloe to live, like, so their relationship is just completely done.
Yes.
Like, they're not even friends. They're barely friends. They're not even talking. And you just see the occasional like social media post.
Yeah.
And literally, like, you sacrificed an entire town of people for her.
For her to ignore you on whatever this person's world of Facebook is?
It just, off the bat, was a bit odd, for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. But then you meet Amanda, and then that makes everything better.
Then you meet Amanda, who is, like, the best character ever, and if you don't date her, something is wrong with you.
Honestly, yeah. I'm so sorry. Leave this podcast. No, I'm just kidding. Please keep listening. I realized after watching you stream this, and then also after looking back at my notes, I mentioned space buns at least like 30 times. That's an exaggeration, but I was just like, space buns. Look at these little space buns.
She has cute hair.
It's a little crooked in the bang area. I assume that's a choice, but yeah. So we obviously both chose to ask Amanda out. And then you have like this cute interaction where you're like, yeah, let's go out on a date to see this band, I think. And then after that, you all leave the bar. So I say all because it's not just you and Safi anymore. You're with your other friend, Moses. Moses is what seems like friends from undergrad with Safi. And so the vibe that I got from the relationship of that little trio is that Moses is good friends with Safi. Max became fast friends with Safi. And Moses and Max are kind of like friends by connection, but not necessarily like best friends, buddy in the same way, you know.
Which I didn't catch, but you caught a bit more because of Max's notes.
Yeah, the notes and the text messages. So when you read through the text messages right at the beginning, there's a lot of weirdness between them that I'm like, oh, you guys just don't feel connected to me. Like, it felt weird. And then you get confirmation later when you start taking notes on each of the individual people, and it literally calls Moses an acquaintance, which I thought was wild to say. Like, I would just call, I honestly, I would call him a friend if I hung out with him as frequently as it seemed like she did. But no, she even called him an acquaintance in her notes.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. But you guys go with Moses, who's a, I don't know what he is in school, I guess. They're all
He's a
like
physics professor.
Physics, yeah. And I think I can't tell which one of them are master's students, which one of them aren't. I think maybe Safi's still getting her master's.
No, I think Safi, they're all faculty.
Okay, they're all working there, and he likes to
that
chill
was another
and look
thing
at
that
stars.
we talked about, where at first when we were playing this game, we thought they might be students.
Oh,
but
yes,
then we learned
that
not. They're all faculty.
Yeah, because Max is the artist in residence, whatever that position means, and all she does is take photos and put them on walls.
And
I guess
she teaches a
class
class too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they look at stars. You have this cute little moment on a rooftop where Safi has a secret, which Maddie, maybe you're just a better friend than me. I'm so sorry in advance for what I do to you in our friendship. But, like, you get the chance to pry a secret out of Safi, and I took that full force. I got that secret. And Maddie was like, let's respect her space.
Well, so, and then this is, I also wanted to make some different decisions than you to see what happens. Although
That's fair.
this was my instinct, though. I will say
it was your instinct.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you were going to change it because you wanted to know, but you decided to go with your instinct because I said I did the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was still your instinct. And there was literally no piece of me that was like, I'm not knowing the secret immediately.
Yeah.
It's like, give it up, girl. But apparently you can try and fail to get her secret. You didn't even try. You were just a good friend. So.
No. I didn't even try. Yep.
Yeah.
Just a good friend.
So she gets a weird phone call after she spills her secret, which, if you get the secret at this point, it's that she is trying to publish some of her poetry. And it seems like she might have gotten a publisher for this poetry book, but it's not finalized. So she doesn't want to totally spill the beans yet because she's still like working through it.
Yeah.
But she gets a phone call. It seems like a little weird, but then she wanders off. And then all of a sudden, the reason that you guys were out there on the roof in the first place, there's like this celestial event with shooting stars. And
very pretty.
Very pretty. And Max goes, of course, to take a picture because it's Max. And when she takes a picture, she gets this bad headache thing. She freaks out because, oh God, is this happening to her again? Magical time powers. And then flees the scene and goes to find Safi.
Yeah, so she just has this really bad feeling. And then this is where we were like, Max still has no fucking common sense because Moses is like, oh, I'll come with you.
In like 1 second. Literally like, 1 second.
Literally let me catch up. He's like right behind her. And she's like, nope, not letting you catch up. And she starts running up to this overlook where she last was following Safi's footprints. Mm-hmm. And you see Safi like talking on the phone and Max is like, oh, phew, everything's fine. But then all of a sudden the scene kind of shifts and changes and Safi's sitting on the bench and you walk around the bench as Max and Safi has been shot.
Yeah.
And she is dead. And
Super
then she
dead.
falls off the bench and you're like, no. And again, Max doesn't call 911.
No, she just cries over the body.
She just cries. So same old Max. And Moses finally gets there and calls 911 like an adult.
Yes, absolutely. Thank God for Moses is all we can say here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think we transition then to like a few days later, 2 days later.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're back in Max's house. And this is when they do a little bit of weird, I don't know, hi, I'm a video game kind of moment because you're super depressed and you hear Amanda's going to come over to visit you and you're like, oh, gotta clean my messy house.
Why would that be the thing? Like,
it would never be the thing.
You have just seen your best friend murdered and her dead body.
Yeah, you better have tissues all over your fucking house. Otherwise, you weren't my friend, you know? you know?
And you're and that's the first thing that she thinks. And she's like cheery and happy too, which is like weird.
It's weird. Yeah.
Like the energy is just totally off in this scene. And I think you're right. It's because they wanted to add some gameplay, which is cleaning up your house, which is gorgeous, by the way. Like how much money does she make?
I don't know.
It's this like amazing, like
it's beautiful
A-frame cabin. This
giant kitchen.
Like floor to ceiling windows.
Private dark room.
Yeah. It's insane. You're telling me this is a photography like
is that why
professor?
You went on to Redfin later? Because you're like, how much do A-frames cost here?
Totally. Are you kidding me? Unfortunately,
Amazing.
Sorry to report that Vermont is almost as expensive as Seattle.
Well, I mean, if it's that pretty, I get it.
Yeah.
Amanda comes over. Mm-hmm. You do the world's cutest, but also oddly sexy for depression amounts of flirting. I think at some point you make some sort of like eating out joke, which I admit, I laughed. It was funny. But then Amanda devastatingly and probably correctly says, hey, you don't like a lot of things just happen in your life right now.
Yeah.
And so I think us like getting in a relationship and starting a relationship right now, it might not be the best timing, and pretty much says like, hey, we're just not gonna do this, which is devastating.
So sad for me.
I wrote emotionally devastating.
Yeah. I hated that part because I tried so hard to save it. I thought maybe there was a way, but there is no way.
Yeah.
To have Amanda still date you in this timeline.
And then I think after this bit, you continue to have a conversation with Amanda, but then you learn that Max has been a terrible friend to Moses and has not contacted him, really, or contacted Safi's mother, who's the dean of this school or president, whatever, and who hired her in the first place. So she has been totally AWOL from these folks, and Moses is like begging for emotional connection. Like, please, God, don't let me.
It's so sad.
Mourn alone. It's devastating. And so you head out to campus to go meet with the mother, and then also go meet with Moses.
Also, Mac's characteristic, still a bad friend.
Still a terrible friend. Again, why call him an acquaintance? Whatever. Terrible friend. Absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
And then you meet a couple of other characters as you make your way over to do this, so I'll intro them really quickly. You meet Reggie, who's an undergrad student. You might have seen him in the bar earlier with Diamond, who's also an undergrad student. You meet Gwen, who is a trans teacher at this school. I'm right about that, right? They never outright actually say it, but they talk about that kind of trauma that she carries. And then you meet Vin, who is a skeezy little rat.
What a way to describe him.
I'm trying to summarize. He sits in front of Yasmin's office. And
who is Safi's mom, just as a reminder.
Yeah. Yes, who is Safi's mom. And he is like her
assistant.
Executive assistant, yeah. Or I guess it's not executive, whatever.
No,
assistant.
it is. It's executive assistant.
Okay, I didn't know how that title applied, but yes.
Yeah.
So he does that, but he's also the leader of this cult thing that exists on campus.
Abraxas.
Yes, Abraxas. And then you meet a little podcaster who has a true crime podcast she's named Loretta. And then, am I missing anybody?
No, I think you got it.
Okay, yeah. So you meet all these people through like varieties.
Teacher, the snooty teacher.
The snooty teacher. What's his name?
Lucas, right?
Lucas, yes. You meet Lucas, who is very full of himself, is probably how I'd say it. Yeah. And he has written a book, and it went super, super well.
Yeah.
So you meet all these different characters, like variety across the school. You help out Gwen. Gwen is being a little sus with wanting this very particular book, and then you overhear her on the phone being a little shady. And then you sit down and talk with both Yasmin and then later with Moses to kind of say, hey, this sucks. It's all very sad. Is there anything out of this section that you specifically want to talk about, Maddie?
Yeah, so in this one is when I cheated.
I forgot. Yes,
Yeah.
you're right.
Or I tried to cheat. And we were listening in on Gwen, and this is after Safi had died, and Gwen is being kind of sketchy.
Yes.
And so
implied sketchiness.
Yes. And so you're trying to kind of snoop, but you get caught by Loretta, the podcaster. And Loretta's like, well, I won't tattle on you if you give me an interview for my podcast. But I think I don't know. I'm sure there's an outcome that's better here. But I didn't want to give her an interview about Safi because, like, I don't know her. And she was being, like, really aggressive about it and, like, painting Safi in, like, a weird light. And
it's weird.
It just felt, like, bad. And so I blow her off and call her bluff on tattling on me being, on Max being Snoopy. Is that the right word?
Yeah, being, like, you're snooping. Yeah, snooping.
Yeah. And Gwen kind of calls her out, but then calls you out and is like, I'm disappointed in you. Like, mind your business, and, like, slams the door in your face.
Which was very sad.
Which was sad because I thought Gwen was, like, pretty cool. I liked her character. I wanted to, like, get to know her more and, like, be on her side. I just wanted to know why she was being weird. And I tried to redo this interaction multiple times to get a better outcome, and I cheated, and it didn't change the outcome.
No.
So this was when we started learning and catching on to the fact that choices don't have a ton of impact in this game versus the last one.
Yeah.
They impact, like, pieces of dialogue, but also the scenes resolve similarly a lot of the times, which is very different than the last one, whereas I felt like some decisions you would make and they would fully change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I even if you think about Kate, which I know is the most devastating, like, choice kind of situation or result of your actions, I guess is a better way to say it, from the first game, there is nothing of that magnitude in this game, it feels like.
Yeah.
It's all just flavor.
Changes. Yeah. It's flavor, but it's also flavor to just that conversation.
Yeah. Or, like, they'll text you sometimes. Or, like, there'll be, like, little things, but we'll get to it in a little bit. There's, like, a whole conversation with Lucas where Maddie had, like, pissed him off quite a bit, and I had sucked up to him quite a bit, and the conversation went almost identically. Like, there was a period, like, one short snippet of that conversation that was bad for Maddie and good for me, but it was just, like, tonally he was mad at Maddie, and that's literally the only difference. And then he went immediately to being nice to her afterwards. It was really weird.
It was very weird. So this is when we started to kind of notice that as we were playing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I was surprised that it had to end the way that it did. Let's see. And then what comes next after
there's
this?
An event that causes you to split. I don't remember the event.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So you leave, you exit the area with Moses after this because you finally started talking to him again. Thank God. And you pass by Lucas being a little piece of crap, talking about his book as a part of the memorial to Safi, to, like, his class. And he uses a lot of terrible phrases, which we hate.
Yeah.
Like,
and he's also so pretentious about it. He's like,
so
Safi didn't get the audience that she deserves like I did with my book.
Oh, God. Terrible. And so that's when Maddie told him off, kind of, but even that wasn't very satisfying.
No.
Yeah, I ignored him. But
yeah.
Again, didn't change much. And then we walk to go find Moses. And then after we have the sweetest and saddest conversation with Moses, when he says, like, I want to keep using present tense for a while with Safi, which adorable and sad. He leaves, and then all of a sudden you start hearing voices, which sounds like Moses, but he's already left. And then you start kind of seeing visions, and then all of a sudden your reality, like, splits because you see Safi, and you're like, no, I have to get to Safi. What is this? And then you split, and you're in this totally different reality where you're sitting there staring at Safi, and then that's the end of chapter 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa. And now you have the two timelines where you have the living timeline and the dead timeline.
Yes. Where it's all centered around, like, Safi in that moment in the snow, I guess.
Yeah. So in this timeline, the living timeline, she did not get killed at the Overlook.
Mm-hmm.
And in the dead timeline, obviously, she did.
Dead. Yeah.
I actually thought that they did such a good job with the visual differences between the two worlds.
Yes,
which I really loved. Yes.
Yeah.
So the living world has this very like bright yellow overtones, whereas the dead world is like blue overtones, and the music is more dark, the vibes are more dark. And then in the living world, the other thing that's the big difference is the thing that you start to learn is that every year they have this Krampus campus tradition where they decorate everything to be very Christmassy, but really based off the Krampus tale versus like Santa. And it's this like creepy but fun Christmas vibes throughout the whole campus. And then in the dead world, they cancel Krampus for the year because it just doesn't match the vibes. Especially when the president of the school's daughter is the one that got killed. Yeah.
Which, I mean, that alone brings the vibes down because there's no decorations and there's no parties and people aren't peppy and whatever else.
Yeah.
But I feel like they did so much to just make the feeling feel very depressed, you know. It was good.
Yeah, and they did a great job with it, I think. The vibes being totally different. Okay, should we jump into chapter 2?
Yeah, do you want to do 2? Or do you have
I don't have notes for 2 either. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. I believe in myself. So, chapter 2, Penumbra. I don't know what that word means, but it's the name of the chapter. In this case, you are now in Living Universe, and you're trying to figure out what the F is going on, because you don't realize what's happening. This is different than the powers you've had before. You've never been able to do this. So you go with Safi and her mom to lunch, because that's apparently what your plans were in this alternate reality. And you see Amanda. You realize you hadn't texted Amanda back in this version. Max, get your act together. You also learned that, but Amanda still wants to date you.
Yes,
which is interesting.
She does.
Yeah,
she does.
Yeah. And you also learn that Safi's car has been vandalized with the skull from the bar. It was thrown into her car windshield, and it had the name Lucas on the antler horn thing, whatever you call it, of the bull skull. And then you then set out, as Max does, to figure out, like, oh, well, maybe the person who put the skull through Safi's car means that this reality version of Safi is still in danger. And maybe there's a way that, like, I can save her. I've got to figure out who did this. And Max goes off to start investigating what happened. So in one reality, Safi is dead and she's investigating her murder. And then in the other reality, she's investigating who might be out to get Safi. But Safi's still alive, and she has no idea that her life is at risk, of course.
Yeah.
The main part that you play here is the investigation. So you're going to the different people across campus to figure out what could have happened. And this is when we get quite a bit of storyline with Vin, and we get storyline with Lucas as well. And then storyline with Gwen. I think those are the 3 main ones here. Do you want to talk through some of these?
Yeah, I think that the one with Vin is the most interesting because it's so flirty, and she also like kills, which is like the bisexual like accuracy is insane with like as a girl flirting with boys, like flirting with men, easy, no problem. Easy, no problem. And with girls, you're a mess.
Women are intimidating. You know what I mean? Boys are boys. Women are intimidating.
Yeah.
You know?
So I will say props to the writing team for the accuracy on that one. But also I was like not feeling Vin at all. And I was like, please stop flirting with him. This is so gross.
Absolutely. I just did not get any positive. I ended up feeling a lot more positively about Vin later in the game, because I did actually end up taking some flirty choices in the middle. Yeah. But in the beginning, and even honestly all the way through the end, it really did not make any sense at all for Vin to be a love interest of Max for so many reasons.
Because the other thing that you learn is that Vin had like hooked up with Safi at one point
and was still in love with her.
And so there's that weirdness. And then he's also like into an undergrad student, which also feels like weirdness.
Feels weird. Yeah.
Which is Reggie, the one that we talked about, but that you've met, but you haven't really gotten to know yet. Him and Diamond come into play a little bit more as the story goes on.
Yeah. They're part of Abraxas. So Reggie and Diamond are a part of Abraxas, and they're both, but primarily Diamond, trying to overthrow Vin. So that's what.
Yeah. Like Reggie's not trying to overthrow Vin. It's just Diamond.
So the main like piece with Vin here is that he's lost his phone. And you want to go figure out, like, you want him to tell you if he knows something about the skull. So you're going to go try and find his phone for him or whatever. He finds it. You have a really weird scene where he can't get into it. And you're like, you can't get into your own phone?
He's forgotten his password to his own phone.
He says he's drunk or whatever, but I've never forgotten my phone password when I was drunk. And also, it's 2024. Does he not have Face ID? I never thought about that. But, like, whatever, right? Right.
Yeah.
Neither here nor there. Maybe he has some other weird version of a phone. And then after you help him get his into his phone.
Actually, it makes sense.
Is that what happens?
Bridget, wait.
Why? Why does it
Why
make
Face
sense?
ID wouldn't work.
It does make sense why Face ID wouldn't work.
Okay, we'll get into it later.
Oh my god, you're so right. Ooh, I take it all back.
Wow.
All
realization.
Back. Ooh,
wow.
All back. That was my bad. You guys will understand in approximately like 15 or 20 minutes.
Yeah.
The phone shenanigans, you then attempt to get into his phone because you want to find his password. Again, a lot of flirting. You have the choice to like extra flirt with him by like getting drunk on a couch with him, which I did in fact do in order to get his password. Maddie did not, which is again probably the right choice. But he was a lot more endearing after the weird couch drunkenness, I will say.
No, I ended up feeling fine about him, but my initial, like, he just seemed really, like, sleazy to me initially. Yes. Like, very, like, slimy.
Yeah, slimy. Yeah. The other little thing that you have is Lucas. So Lucas has this briefcase, and he's wild for this, but you walk up and you see him there, and he sees you, and immediately he's like, blah, blah, and then, like, frantically locks his briefcase and then runs away, leaving the briefcase there. One's fine. But he sees you, frantically locks his briefcase, and then you find out that in the living world, Lucas has a really bad relationship with his son. Like, things are not going well. But in the dead world, it's actually going really well, which is a weird for like a 2-day time period. Yeah. And you are then bound and determined to get into this locked case because you see like a thing sticking out of it, which I think looked like an email or something like that.
Yeah, and when you open the briefcase, which is, again, in the living world where he has the bad relationship with his son, you find a piece of paper that says that he is filing for a restraining order against Safi.
Wild.
And then you start a conversation with Lucas, and he's saying that he thinks that Safi ruined his relationship with his son purposefully.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
By saying a bunch of fucked up shit to his son, like, the reason that your mom and I are divorced are because of you. And, like, blaming the son for it. And he has no evidence that Safi was the one that did this. He just has a feeling that it was Safi, even though the son insists that it's Lucas himself that did it.
Yeah. And his, like, reasoning for, like, his son insisting was because Safi was his babysitter at some point and had, like, a hold on him, you know, like in a, I could convince you to do something way. But really, that's it. There's no actual proof or anything. Mm-hmm. And then this was a big choice, big, quote unquote, it didn't really do anything, but big choice where you can choose to delete the image that you took of the restraining order in the suitcase or briefcase. Or you can send it to Safi.
Yeah, so I sent it to Safi because at this point I had no loyalty to this guy. And I was feeling like, I don't know, it just felt like weird. Like, there was obviously holes in the story, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give Safi in this world a heads up because I was thinking that maybe it would make our relationship better down the line.
Well, and plus the other option is delete it. So you lose the evidence if you don't send it, which is a little, you know, like it makes the choice, I feel like, a little harder if it was just keep it on your phone for later or whatever. Yeah. I did delete it. I deleted it because I felt like since we were dealing with children and the relationship with their dad, it felt like too risky of a choice to gamble. I did not like Lucas. I really, really didn't like him, but I felt really, really bad for the kid. Like I could just imagine how devastating whatever was happening there. And I was like, if there's an ounce of truth to this, a restraining order probably, like, I don't know, will do those ruin your life if you've got a restraining order on you? It didn't feel like it was that big of a deal. So I was like, whatever.
Yeah. I think that's totally fair. So then the last main storyline, or I think the last main storyline that you start to uncover is that in the living world, Gwen has been fired.
Yes.
And in the dead world, there's something happening with Gwen, but she's not fired.
No.
So in the living world, you figure out through talking with Gwen, talking with others, and doing some snooping around Gwen's office, that Gwen was fired for dealing drugs to students, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, one, that's stupid. You would think that a fully formed adult brain would not do that.
Yeah.
And the other one is that Gwen really insists that she didn't do it and it wasn't her. Mm-hmm. And so you kind of get the opportunity at the end of this chapter when you find Gwen at the Overlook. There's this moment where she's like, I was fired, and she's really upset about it. And she has a flash drive that she says has proof of her dealing drugs to the students. Mm-hmm. And she wants to throw it in the garbage and set it on fire. And the next big choice is you can either grab it out of the fire, mm-hmm. or you can let it burn.
Let it burn, baby.
And you let it burn, which means that Gwen liked you a bit more.
Yeah.
And I grabbed it, which Gwen was annoyed by. But in my head, I was like, it was classic. It was mirroring the photograph thing in the first one for me.
Kate. Yeah.
With Kate, where you can take the photo for evidence and proof, even though it upsets Kate in the moment of, David being mad at her, mm-hmm. and being inappropriately yelling at her. And so in my head, I was like, okay, well, I want the proof, and I want to see if that proof gives me anything. So I grabbed the flash drive, and Gwen was annoyed at it.
Yeah. I honestly couldn't take that Gwen already disliked me in the other timeline. That I was like, I need Gwen to like me in some timeline, so I sacrificed it. I was like, whatever, let it burn. We're just gonna let it burn. And then Gwen really, really liked me. She was so nice after that. It was the right choice for me.
No, it does. Yeah. She was still prickly to me for a bit after that.
Yeah. Sure. And then the other thing that you learn about Gwen is that she was working with Safi as a mentor, mentee kind of situation. And she was the one who helped set up Safi's book deal. Mm-hmm. But then she's also the one who pulled the book deal.
That's the big thing. In both timelines, she got the book deal canceled.
Yes. Which actually, now that we say that, the phone call that Safi took on the roof, is that the book publisher saying, hey, we're pulling it?
Probably. You're right.
Probably. They never
because
actually
it happened
say
in
that.
Both timelines.
Yes. Yeah. So that was probably her getting that informed that her book has been pulled. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so at that point, you're like, why did Gwen do that? She literally set up the book and then she pulled it? Question mark. But yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think we have just a little itty bitty bit left before to chapter 3. And that last bit is Loretta. Let's see. Oh yeah. You go up to, when you had been talking to Gwen, you had went up to where in the dead world Safi had gotten killed. And so you flip back to the other timeline where she's dead and there are flowers growing where her body is, which was really weird, in the exact shape. And then Loretta is there, the podcaster, and she tells you that, her bad for being such a brat and ratting on you to Gwen. Yeah. But she has information she'll share with you, which is that Maya, Safi's friend, had committed suicide years ago. And it was this big, shenanigan. Yeah, but you don't know anything else because Sophie's never mentioned it. And then you get to the final scene in this section, which is back at the school where the cop that has finally like showed up is trying to, what is he actually trying to do? Like get into Moses's office to search?
Yeah, because he's suspicious of Moses because Moses is black.
Is black. Is a black male that was at the scene.
At the scene. Exactly.
Yeah, even though Moses is literally the sweetest person this whole game.
So the last scene of this chapter, which is pretty big, is once Max goes and rushes to help Moses, who has sent pretty much an SOS text.
Yeah.
You learn that Moses had grabbed the camera from Safi's dead body because he was thinking that he wanted the selfie that she had taken of the three of them before she died. And he wasn't thinking about it as evidence.
So sad.
But then once he took it home and like came to his senses a bit, he was like, oh shit, crap. I took evidence from the scene. But he knew that they would be prejudiced if he tried to reach out to them and like give it back. So he decided to hide it in his office.
Right.
And the cop is saying, hey, you have to let me into your office. I'm going to search your office. And so Max jumps between timelines to get the camera out of the office so that Moses doesn't get caught with the camera. Right. Because she knows that if Moses gets caught with the camera, he's going down.
Toast. Absolute toast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and while you're swapping back and forth, we find a new power, which is putting your hands on shit, thinking really hard, I guess, and then swapping timelines for that item. So, like, she swaps a put-together telescope in the living timeline with an unput-together telescope still in boxes in the dead timeline so that she can
right in front of the cop. And so that's when he is like, what the fuck is happening?
Dude plunges into psychosis, I swear to God. Yeah, which, I mean, fair. Yeah. And then you get to the next big choice. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, the next big choice is after you've successfully grabbed the camera and Moses is not in trouble, the cop asks to speak with you kind of slightly out of range of Moses, but you can tell that he still hears you. And he's asking, hey, let me know if you know anything, essentially, and hands you the business card, and Max can either say no thanks or she can take it. And I think we both said no thanks.
It's true. Can't hurt Moses like that, my man.
Yeah, because the implication is that if you took the business card, Moses would think that you were planning to rat him out.
Rat him. Yeah, or like, even though he didn't do anything. Oh,
even though he didn't do anything, or like blame him or put any type, which is sad. And I wanted to protect Moses as much as possible because he's the best.
He's so sweet. And then the very, very last bit here is you get the camera. Yay. You look at the stuff on the camera now with Moses. You're being all cute about it. Oh, look at us. This is our selfie. Isn't this sad that Sophie's gone? Oh, there's one more picture. Here it is. It's you. It's Max
with a gun pointed at Sophie.
Straight
Max
at the
is
camera.
the one that killed Sophie.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. And then Moses freaks out. That's actually the end. And he goes, don't fucking talk to me, and like runs away.
I did actually take a note here where I wrote, why does Max have the wrong color jacket on? I was like, mine is yellow, but this is a different color jacket. And I couldn't figure out if that's just like a oversight because, you know, you could pick your clothes or whatever, or if it was a hint. And I can't decide which, but I feel like it might have been a hint. I don't know.
I don't think so, because when you go back in time, which is the beginning of the 3rd chapter, so Max is like, why would I shoot her?
Yeah.
Why would I shoot her? I don't understand. And she remembers that in the first...
Oh, you're right. I guess that is you. God, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so she has the powers where in the first game where she can look at a photo and then like go back to that time. And so she uses her powers on this photo to go back to that time. And this is where you have this really interesting conversation with Safi. She's talking about Maya and she's like, stop stalling, Max. And there's like another big tornado.
Yeah. Looks exactly like the first game's tornado.
Looks exactly like the first game's tornado, which I will say I was like, another tornado, boo. But whatever. I get it. They're trying to make the connections. So fine. But at this point, I was like, they better not end this game the same way they ended the first one, where it was like, save the town or save Safi. Yeah. That would have been so lame, and I'm really glad they didn't do that.
Yeah. Fully agree.
But yeah, and the power doesn't last for very long. And so then she goes back into the, like, timeline and gets interrupted by
the detective.
The detective. Mm-hmm. So the one last thing I will say is that before the detective interrupts, I had the opportunity to look at the flash drive. And the flash drive was so not helpful. It was so boring. It was literally a video of Gwen dealing drugs. And you're like, okay, there she is.
I guess she dealt the drugs.
The one thing that's weird about it, and it did make me write like a guess, is that Gwen was looking right at the camera.
Yeah, who would do that?
Who would do that? Yeah. And so you get this feeling that there's like these evil twins almost that are happening.
They use the word doppelgangers like a couple times. Yeah.
And so my prediction at this point was that there was another timeline with like evil versions of people that were getting like mixed in. Because the thing about the Overlook is that you've also heard reports from the Overlook of people like seeing other people up there and like other versions of themselves and like it being kind of a weird place. So that was something that I had guessed, but that ends up not being true.
Honestly, I feel like that could have been a really cool way to take it, if I'm being honest.
Like a third parallel universe with evil versions of everybody.
Yeah, I like it. So the cop's there, right? Mm-hmm. He's just mad. He's like, I'm going to get you. I know you did it. You're trying to hide the photograph.
And she has the photo out of her shooting the gun. And she's trying to be sly and make sure he doesn't see it. And it doesn't fucking work. And he's like, what the fuck is up with you? And he's like trying to, I don't know. It's just. Yeah,
it's wild. Scene. It's so dumb because she's like panicked about the photograph being on the counter, and instead of just picking it up and putting it in her pocket when he turns around one of the like 6 times he does that, she just leaves it on the counter even though she's trying to like angle it behind like a fruit bowl or something dumb. Idiot.
Just grab it and put it in your fucking pocket.
Put it in your pocket. Just put it in your pocket.
Just put it in your pocket while he's ranting and turning his back to you. But instead, she, like, slaps her hand over it while he's looking. And he's like, what the fuck is under your
And then he's like, I'm gonna get ya, girl. I know it's you. Like, it was you around this freaking telescope. And I read about this town.
You and Moses. He still thinks Moses is involved somehow.
Yeah, but you are now also
But you're now prime suspect, yes.
And he brings up, like, your history. And he's like, did I touch a nerve? And all that kind of shenanigans.
Oh, yeah, he's so rude. And this is, again, why it doesn't work with the, like, I thought it was so weird with the Arcadia Bay thing.
That's a good point.
Because he's like, everyone around you dies. What about your hometown? And I was just like, a tornado? I'm sorry, you're blaming Max for a tornado?
Giant natural disaster.
Like, it just didn't work as much as it could have worked to be like, your best friend Chloe. Like, you know, like, she like died. Like, why do people around you die? It felt like, blaming her on this giant natural disaster just didn't hit as I
never thought about that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It just felt a little bit silly. So then the next thing is that Max is pretty much begging Moses to talk to her because she wants to explain everything. Mm-hmm. And so you ask Moses to meet you at the Overlook, which turns into this really cute scene.
Honestly,
love
one
this
of my
scene.
favorites. Yeah.
Yes. Why don't you talk about it?
Well, you get this moment of Moses being a physicist, which is just really fun because you start explaining to him like, no, I can go across timelines. And he's then totally into it. He's like, you have to prove it to me. Like, show me how to do it. And then you do it and he's like, oh my God, like I have to figure out how this works. And then, I don't know. It's just really fun because
so then
he's so smart.
You become really good friends with Dead World Moses.
Yeah.
And you
it's
get
really
to
cute.
tell Dead World Moses everything, even like all of the stuff that you're learning in the living world. And he kind of becomes this really awesome, like, confidant.
Yeah.
But living world Moses doesn't have the info. And you don't have the relationship with. Mm-hmm. So I think that I really liked this aspect of the Dead World where Max becomes really close with Moses by being able to share with him. And so then once you're kind of on the same team at the Overlook, the cop finds you. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I've got you now. But then he sees his doppelganger on the Overlook, mm-hmm. who appears and is in like the other timeline. So there's like some timey-wimey stuff definitely happening on this
like
Overlook.
A rift, some shenanigans happening.
Yeah. And he's seeing the like ghosty otherworld version of himself investigating the crime scene. And mm-hmm. he's like, what the hell? And he goes and touches
wild move.
Which is crazy.
Wow.
He reaches for it, touches it, and then starts getting sucked in to this like other version of himself in this like little like bright wormhole situation. Yeah. And he's like, save me. And Max can choose to either try to save him or not. Mm-hmm. I chose to try to save him. You chose to try to save him. The outcome is the same. Yep. Essentially, you try to save him. It doesn't work. And he like pops into this like
he like fuses with whatever is happening
and disappears.
Yeah.
And Moses like breaks y'all apart because mm-hmm. Max is getting sucked into the wormhole too because she's trying to save him. And then when he does that, he gets this like streak of white in his hair.
Yeah. Yeah. Which the streak of white is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. And he likes it too. He like also thinks it's pretty cool.
Does he end up with the streak of white at the very end?
Good question. I don't know.
I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and look. So this is the other part where Moses is also trying to figure out what happened to mm-hmm. the detective.
Yes. And he like goes in a full investigative mode.
Yeah.
Like in the text, you'll see him giving you updates on like what he's learned and you could like message him back. It's really fun. It's a fun little dynamic really fun. Once it starts.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the next part? I think this is when you start trying to dig more into Maya.
Yeah. So at this point, you know Maya is involved somehow. But you don't know anything about her. So you start asking around in both the living world and the dead world about Maya. Mm-hmm. And in the living world, you have a conversation with Yasmin where you're asking about Maya. And Yasmin lies and says, mm-hmm. oh, Safi didn't have a relationship with her at all. Even though what
Maya
you've heard and gathered from everyone is that Safi and Maya were like best friends.
Yeah.
Like Chloe and you level best friends.
Yeah, like they seemed very close.
Yeah. And so you can either call Yasmin out or you can roll with it. And we both mm-hmm. rolled with it because I thought I would get more information if I rolled with it.
Yeah. And so I don't know what happens on the other side, but I don't feel like you learn very much from that conversation anyway.
No.
It's mostly that like Vin ratted, right? Or not ratted. That's not the right phrase.
Well, what you learn is that Vin published a statement about Maya saying that she was troubled because she had taken her own life. Mm-hmm. And so he had published a statement saying that it was a tragedy and that Maya was like a troubled student and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
And so you learn that Vin is also somehow involved in Maya. And so the last thing that I will add in this living world is that after your conversation with Yasmin, you run into Amanda in the mm-hmm. school, which is weird because she works at the cafe bar by the school, but it's like
she doesn't
have a reason to go to the school.
Yeah.
And you ask her and she's like, oh, I was getting coffee, but it's well known at this point that Amanda makes the best coffee in town.
Yeah, they mentioned it so many times.
Yes, multiple characters have commented on this. And so you're like, why is Amanda coming into the school's cafe to get coffee when she makes the best coffee in town.
Mm-hmm.
It made no damn sense. So you kind of start going like, what's happening here? And then you go to ask Vin about Maya because you know that he's involved. So then you're going to ask Vin about Maya, and you learn in this conversation with Vin that he was also close with Maya, but he's kind of prickly about giving you more information. And he talks about how Maya has suffered enough, but also hints that somehow Lucas is involved in all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, how was Lucas involved in all of this? And this is where I had made a prediction that Lucas might have stolen Maya's work. Because at that point, what you have learned about Lucas is that he's only published one successful book.
Just one. Not even one successful. Literally just one. And it was successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, it's probably because all of his previous things were not published because they were bad.
Because they're garbage.
Yeah. And then you go to investigate Lucas's office.
Mm-hmm.
And in that office, so immediately you confirm that he had stolen Maya's work, and you get photo evidence of that, which I wrote, thank God she took a photo, because a lot of the times in the first one when she was doing investigations, she was like not taking photos of proof, and I'm like
like the one time you need to be taking photos, girl, but that's fine.
Yeah. And then you have this conversation with Safi that's unfortunate, where she's like, why are you digging into my past in the living world?
She's mad.
And she's like pretty mad at you. Yeah.
Yeah. I was a little upset at this point because in the living world, you've kind of ticked off Amanda a little bit, but luckily that goes better. And then Safi hates you. And so I'm like, at least in the living world, I was like, you could just stay there. It'd be kind of nice, you know, just stay in the living world. But then they connect you with dead Moses, or, you know, dead world Moses.
Yeah.
And then living Safi hates you. So they probably did that on purpose. But
yeah. To make like good pieces of each.
Yeah.
So then to cheer yourself up, you go to Amanda's bar in Living World and you have your date.
It's so
which was
cute.
the best scene in the whole game.
One.
It was so great. Amanda's like working, but she's like, we can still have our date here. And she puts earbuds in her and Max's ears, and they share and they start listening to this punk band.
Yeah, the one they were supposed to go see. Yeah.
The one they were supposed to go see. And there's this really cute scene where Amanda walks Max through this imaginary date, and she's like, close your eyes. We're arriving at the venue, and you hear like the guitar being tested and the microphone being tested. Yeah. What do you do? And then Max can go like, oh, I want to go downstairs and get a drink before the show starts or whatever. Yeah. And you kind of live through this imaginary concert that's so cute. And I just loved it so much. And then there's a part that's so funny where you can either like say that the lead singer is crowd surfing and if people catch her or not, depending on like how it goes. And so in mine, she jumps to crowd surf. Nobody catches her. She totally eats it up and dies.
Okay, mine went slightly differently because I had done shenanigans before, so my arm was hurt. And
that's how mine. Yeah. Mine was too.
Yeah. But even with that death of the lead singer, honestly, like Amanda is so cute the whole time throughout the whole thing, and you just like brush it off. This is also when you get the infamous Shaka bra.
Not the Shaka bra. They had to slip one in. They had to slip one in.
It was a great moment for us. The writing we haven't mentioned is much better this time. Like way less cringe is how I guess I should
cringe.
Yeah. But the Shaka bra, we were thankful that was back. And Amanda calls her out on it. She's like, I'm gonna pretend you did not just say that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay.
Good choice, Amanda.
And then you want to talk about the end of the day.
Yeah. No, you go for it.
Well, I mean, we had like a little moment when we talked about this last time.
Yeah, we had differing opinions.
Yeah, so you get to a part of the day at the very end where you're sitting on a couch at a different part of the bar, and Amanda starts, like, you clearly have this like chemistry. Hoo boy. And Amanda pretty much begs you to kiss her. She says, I usually get way too attached too fast, and I am going to feel better if you're the one who kisses me because I'll know that I'm not like making it up. And I thought that was one, really brave of Amanda to say. I feel like that's a scary thing to say. But then two, furious at Max, even though what follows is the hottest. Oh my God, it's such a good kiss. That is the kind of romantic kiss that you want to see, not like the Chloe Max kiss from episode or from game 1. But I was mad at Max because after Amanda does that, Max is like, no, you.
Yeah, literally she no-use it. So she like starts leaning in and then she's like, well, I'm just too polite. Like, you have to do it. And then Amanda is like, you're trying to kill me. And Max goes, maybe. And then she goes, fuck.
And then she just...
And then kisses her. Yeah. But it's hot, dude.
It was. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just saying that now I wonder if Amanda, in the back of her mind, once again was like, oh no, do I like her more because she didn't kiss me first? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true.
All I'm saying. And I like Amanda more than Max. So really, I just care about Amanda's feelings here.
I just thought it was hot. So
it was.
I am pro Max doing this because it was
like
a
tease
scene.
Back and forth.
It
built the tension.
Yeah, it was good.
I will not reject that. And then you immediately afterwards can go on a date with Vin if you had buttered him up already, which I had done. But you hadn't done, right?
So I completely didn't get this. Yep.
Yeah, so I got a whole ass date literally immediately. Like you flip to Otherworld to Dead World, and then you go on a date with Dead World Vin.
Whoa.
And in front of Amanda, literally right after your date, and she's like at the bar working. But
she hadn't dated Dead World Amanda.
Yes, she hadn't dated Dead World Amanda.
But it's still weird.
Dead World Amanda is cool with it. Like she's just a vibe. You're just at the bar flirting with Vin, and then you have this weird scene. Fair. You have this weird scene where you play like smash or pass with the faculty of this university, which is so absolute insanity to me. I passed on everybody because it was weird. Like it was just weird. Totally. And then he got to the point where he was being like super flirty. And as we discussed before, Max knows how to flirt with Vin. So she's being super flirty. And it got to the point where he was like, smash or pass me. And you're like,
no.
And,
illegal.
And I think at this point, I was like, they really said you can be bi here. They were like, it's all good.
They did go for it.
But like, I just... because it was immediately after the date with Amanda, and the Amanda date was so freaking good. And even though I was like, getting more positive towards Vin, it still was not anywhere near like the positivity of the character of Amanda. And Amanda was cleaning the bar, and I was like, what if at the end, if I like dated both of them, then I'd get nobody, you know what I mean? So I was like, no. So I passed that shiz. And then
good choice.
And he was cool about it. He was like, yeah, I get it.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah, like it wasn't mean. Like he was just like, yeah. Oh, the last bit is that you go home and you see that your house is all busted up and everything's like thrown about. And then you start in living world. And you can figure out how to get down to the dark room because you think somebody's in the dark room.
Yep.
And when you do that, I did Dead World first so that I could just go through the door and go downstairs.
Same.
And then
I got a preview that it's yourself.
Yeah, which is kind of cool. Like, it was really fun, honestly.
Yeah.
I have no idea how you get in there if you don't do that. Do you just walk in? I don't know.
I guess you just walk in.
But it was fun with the preview because you're like, because you get that moment because a cutscene doesn't start. So it's pretty fun.
So then you switch into the living world. You actually go into the dark room and you see yourself. But it's very confusing because you're like, hi. What? And then the other one is mad at you and like asking you like why you're doing all this investigation stuff. And she goes, well, you're me. You should know why I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Like, we think the same. And she's like, what is happening? And then the other Max
takes
off, books it. And then real Max starts running after her. And this is where, like, there was, like, a few pieces of dialogue that were, like, being thrown back and forth that were, like, seemingly, like, at this point is when I guessed because she was like, well, why don't you understand why I'm doing this? Because you're me. Like, why don't you get it? Where real Max was asking other Max that. And other Max was like making a few like comments that just seemed really out of character.
Yeah. Like, I think at some point they said something about like not being on the same side or something like that, which was odd.
It was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very weird. And so this is where, like, literally right before it gets confirmed, I was like, I bet Safi has doppelganger powers. Then immediately it was confirmed.
Maddie's power is she has like 3 second prediction power.
Yep. Yeah. So
I didn't see it at all. Like, none of me saw it coming. I was still stuck in like the thing you had mentioned earlier of like there's a third Max and they're evil, and it literally was not until you're on the ice breaking and then Safi's like laying there on the ground and you're like, is that Safi?
Yeah. You're like,
the answer is
Safi?
Yes. It was Safi.
And then you also have a really cool scene where the ice is breaking and Safi had like fallen in, and you rescue Safi, but the ice is still breaking. And so Max switches the entire lake with Dead World Safi Lake, which is fully
pretty
frozen
cool.
over.
It was
which
a pretty
is
cool
super
scene.
cool.
Yeah.
And then you go back to your house where Safi
and you're in
is
chapter
Safi,
4.
And you're in chapter 4.
Yeah.
And
okay. Do it.
This is where you have a conversation with Safi where you kind of just like hash everything out. And Max is honest with Safi and says, I have timeline powers, and in this other timeline, I shoot you, but I don't know why. And Safi's like, well, we can figure this out. We can do it. Like, I believe in us, and I know that you're not going to hurt me. And you have to trust yourself that you're not going to hurt me. And Max is like, okay.
I was like, whatever you say, okay.
And then you also get the chance to hash out the like weird interactions that you've had. So Amanda, that weird interaction with Amanda was not Amanda.
Yep.
It was Safi. And you can ask Safi to like never do that again, which I did.
Right. Absolutely.
Because that crosses a line.
Definitely.
And you figure out that Vin that couldn't remember his password was Safi.
Yes, and then why the face? Why would not the face work, Maddie? Why would face not work?
So the face wouldn't work because the way Safi's powers work is it's not actually shape-shifting powers. She manipulates other people's brains to see the other character.
Yeah, she like crawls up in there kind of.
Yeah. So it's not that she looks like them, it's that everybody else sees them when they look at her.
Ugh, such a good realization. We should do every episode twice. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. That is fresh with this episode.
Fresh. Yeah. That is new content.
New content. So the last thing that you learn is that Safi had pretended to be Lucas and say all of those horrible things to his son, which is like pretty shitty. So this is also where you
terrible.
get a preview that Safi's like maybe kind of halfway a bad guy.
Yeah, I wrote like, is she evil though? Because she might be.
She kind of is.
Yeah, and I'm like, maybe Max just kills her because she is evil, and like everybody's life is worse because she's here. I'm like, maybe that's just what she has to do. You know?
Maybe, yeah. She is pretty like that sucks. You just told a kid that their parents got divorced, like
because of them.
Because
that
of
is
them.
like life-changing shenanigans for that little kid. You know?
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And then she dealt the drugs as Gwen, right?
And then she dealt the drugs as Gwen. Nope, that was the last thing. Yep.
Yep.
So she got Gwen fired because she found out that Gwen was the one that canceled her book deal.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I get being angry about it, but holy moly, girl went like full flame. Yeah.
Dealing drugs, like, you can get arrested.
Yeah, that's like real business.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I'm glad that Gwen just got fired, but yeah, you can like get fully arrested.
But then it ends on like a weird positive note where you decide instead of like whatever was happening with Safi not liking you is you're just going to go take down Lucas. That's just what you're going to do.
Yeah, because you have an honest conversation with Safi about Maya and her book getting stolen. And then you also learn that the reason Gwen wanted to shut down the book is because the poetry that Safi had written was about Maya and like her work getting stolen and then her suicide.
Yeah.
And Gwen was worried that it would like, which
she
I
called
didn't
it
fully
incendiary
believe.
is like what she called it. Yeah.
Because the other thing that you start to put together is that Yasmin sucks because Yasmin covered up Lucas stealing Maya's work.
Right. Yeah. Now,
because
you only get this second hand, though, right? Like, through Safi. So you don't actually see Yasmin being terrible. You just hear about it from Safi in this conversation.
Yeah, because the thing that Yasmin had asked Safi to do after Maya died was to keep quiet. Like, or actually, the thing that she had asked Safi to do was when Lucas stole her work, she told Safi to tell Maya to not report it and like not talk about it
for the school or whatever.
For the school, yeah. So of course everybody's like bending over backwards to protect this man. Boo.
Who stole a woman's work and then drove her to frickin' suicide, but sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So Yasmin sucks, Lucas sucks, and now the plot is getting revenge on Lucas.
Yes. And I will admit that up in like this point is the point where I think the game went a little downhill for me. I was uphill.
Yes.
I think up to here. And then going forward, like this next scene where we start trying to like get Lucas by showing a PowerPoint. Which I still feel pretty freaking mixed on. I don't know. Just goes downhill for me.
So then you start collaborating with Safi to do this gotcha that is part of the Krampus events where it's like this event where it was supposed to be this event honoring Lucas, but of course you want it to be about like outing Lucas as this terrible person. Yeah. And it's in Amanda's bar. It's like Krampus themed. Everybody's supposed to be cheery, and then you're planning this like plot. And the other thing that you get here that is cute, though, is you get this very sweet scene with Dead World Moses, where in Dead World, the Krampus stuff is not happening. The event is not happening, right? Like, none of that is happening. And you learn about a tradition that Safi and Moses had to build gingerbread houses together every year for Christmas. And so Dead World Moses is working on this gingerbread house.
In a booth all by himself. It's actually quite devastating.
All by himself. And he's really sad because his friend is still dead. He doesn't have Living World Safi to talk to. Yeah. Right? Like,
and Max is gone like half the time because you're bebopping over there. And his best friend
is still dead. And Max goes into the other timeline and has Safi make him a chimney. Yes. And Living World Safi makes Dead World Moses a chimney with like a heart and like writes their names on it. And it's very cute. And Dead World Moses like loves it, and he's like very touched by it. It's this very sweet scene. So
it's very melty. I don't know. I just whoosh.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
It's very sweet. I really appreciated that because, you know, he's like, you know, he's connected to his best friend again.
And we love Dead World Moses. Like, yeah.
He's our bestie. Which is funny because then you go Living World Moses and he's not really your bestie.
He's your acquaintance.
He's your acquaintance. So then you out Lucas in Living World with this PowerPoint that has evidence. And again, it's just like
so anticlimactic. No.
It's so anticlimactic. And like it's just like you don't get.
There's no haha, we did it. It's just kind of like there.
And Lucas is still kind of saying like, oh, well, but authors are always inspired by others. But like people are not really reacting.
No. And like I remember I had this weird bug where my bar sounds, like the ambient sounds of the bar were about at the same sound level as whatever the Lucas roast shenanigans were happening. So it sounded like no one was paying attention. It was just like people talking still and hanging out at a party as you were showing these slides. And it was just kind of like Lucas making excuses and then the slideshow ending. And then you're supposed to be like, yeah, we got him. And instead I was like, so none of that mattered, right? Because none of that mattered.
Yeah, and it just kind of sucked. Like, it just wasn't satisfying again. Like, you're
No.
trying to confront this. And this is where it's like, dude, this is a video game and you're a soap opera. Like, go
Yeah, like,
big.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
big, like, out that motherfucker. Everybody needs to be like, yeah, like booing him off the stage.
Yeah.
Like, call his agent, get his shit canceled. Like, you really
Yeah.
could have gone extra. Like, I don't know
Record
why
him
they
in, like,
muted.
a private conversation. Like, okay, part of the game is you can flop to the other world and, like, eavesdrop. Imagine if you eavesdrop on an otherworld conversation, hearing him admit to stealing it, and then you, like, send it to the agency and you, like, played that shit over the speakers. Like, come on. Come on.
Yeah, like, there were so many things that, like, as a game, like, in writing this scene, they could have just gone bigger, and I truly just don't know why.
No,
didn't.
it was literally a PowerPoint where some people were kind of, like, a little bit gasping and being like, what do you mean? Like, it was weird. It was really weird.
Yeah. Like, literally, this dude needs to be arrested. He stole somebody's work and they committed suicide. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Arrested.
Yeah, but no,
Like,
he's gonna go on to his
jail.
movie deal, and everyone's gonna ignore that happened. The, like,
yeah,
10
so then
people in the audience.
Yes. So after the confrontation, Lucas is like, I need to talk to you, to Safi, and he's like, I need to tell you the real story.
Which we don't hear.
Which we don't hear, which is kind of lame. And then all of a sudden, like, Safi's freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Did I miss something there?
No, that's literally what happens. Is Safi freaks out, and then you're like, oh crap, and you go to, like, find her.
Her powers kind of go crazy.
Yes, this is when I was like, oh my god, the storm is Safi's storm, not Max's storm, which I did think was cool. I wasn't upset.
Yeah.
With that. And she has a gun, which we didn't mention, because for some reason Lucas had a gun in his pocket, unexplained. This man does not need a gun.
You steal the gun and you hand it to Safi because you don't want to hold it because you're Max and you don't want to shoot Safi. And she's like, well, I can hold it.
Instead, this woman, who is clearly going through some sort of psychotic episode, has a gun now. And you find her, she shot her mom. She's very upset at her mom.
Yeah, so you find her at the Overlook. And she's confronting her mom at the Overlook.
Mm-hmm.
And she is sent, like, and this also didn't make sense.
No,
and again,
it didn't.
This
Absolutely.
is where, again, it's like they could have gone bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously Yasmin sucks. Like, you have learned this.
Yeah.
She covered up her daughter's best friend's suicide and protecting this, like, man.
Gross.
Like, gross, right? Like, totally gross.
Gross.
Absolutely gross. And then you also learn from Safi that her mom was, like, always pressuring her to be this, like, perfect version of herself and, like, never mess up and, like, not giving her the grace to mess up.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's confronting her mom about this, and her mom is, like, totally just like, I'm sorry. And it's like, it's like, dude, like, I can't even feel bad for Safi right now.
I didn't. And, like, the reason
because
that I mentioned
Yasmin was being so pathetic in this scene.
So pathetic. And every single other time you've met with Yasmin, the only slightly negative interaction you had was when she lied about Maya at the coffee shop.
Which is slimy AF. And
yeah,
so, like, she needs to be slimy. Play into her slimy.
Yes, there was, like, no slime.
There was no slime in this confrontation.
Mm-hmm. It was very, once again, anticlimactic. And I was even confused because the way that they sprinkle that her mom is the one who's behind pretty much all this shenanigan happening is, like, a couple, like, one-liners.
Yeah.
And so by the time I got here, I'm like, oh, is this implying that her mom actually was the mastermind behind all of this stuff? Did her mom get her book pulled? Like, those are the kinds of questions going around in my head, which I think the answer is yes. Her mom got the book pulled. Maybe?
Yeah.
Maybe question mark. But
they
like,
didn't
it really
fully explain it. Like, Lucas apparently had this, like, gotcha.
Yeah,
but
which
we
we
don't
didn't
know
see.
what that gotcha was.
Yeah, and so you're at the top of the mountain with the storm, and Safi's going crazy, and she turns into Moses, which is the one thing she said she'd never do. So you know that she's, like, going crazy, and shoots her mom and whatever else. And then I think that starts chapter 5 is when you have to make your big choice about what happens next, right?
Yeah, so you start chapter 5, which is the, like, you're confronted with, you capture Safi having a meltdown. Yeah. And you switch her into Dead World.
Yes. Oh, right. Yes.
And then Safi is like, just kill me, which also didn't make any goddamn sense.
No sense.
Safi didn't feel bad about
No, she had no
anything.
remorse.
So why is at this point, why is she like, just kill me? Like, she had
No, absolutely not.
Made no sense. And she's like, just kill me. And then Max is like, no, not again. And throws the gun into the tornado. And also grabs Safi's hand and like walks her into the tornado.
Yeah, they just leap into that fucking storm.
Yeah.
Nobody's business.
And then you go into this dream world. And in this dream world, it's like this mix of like confronting your past. So it has scenes from the previous game. And this is where I was like, Chloe alive does not make sense. Because none of these scenes hit the same with Chloe being alive. Because you confront the bathroom scene again. Yeah. You confront your road trip. Like, and your road trip was supposed to be like in the world in which Chloe is alive, you do a road trip with Chloe, like as best friends. And then she breaks up with you. In the dead world, in Chloe Dead World, you do this road trip by yourself.
Yeah, as like a escape.
And you're depressed. Almost. And you're like
alone.
And you're alone. And so then these scenes where you're like confronting these things, it just doesn't hit as hard. And you also confront being tied up by Mr. Jefferson in the chair again. And so it's all of these like revisiting Max's most traumatic moments, which just don't make sense in a world where Chloe is alive as much.
Fully agree.
Like it just, the emotional impact isn't as much.
Yeah, I agree with that. Especially with the like motel scenes, you kind of like go into the same ones. They look the same over and over and over again, and you can feel like the monotony of it. And I feel like had those trips been with a loved one, even if you broke up later, they would have positive connotations and memories of like being with somebody that you love, right? And
yeah, so in my scenes, like I was getting clips of like her, like she was still like, oh, like I loved that I got to spend this time with Chloe, but like it just, the emotional impact wasn't as much.
It just doesn't. Yeah. Totally see that.
Yeah.
You're also, during this time, trying to find Safi because you jumped into this thing, right? And you kind of hear Safi, but you don't know where she is. And you figure out pretty fast that the characters that are scattered around are acting weird. And when you take a picture with your camera and like double expose it, which is a feature of the camera, the first picture you take, they look like Safi through the camera. And then the second picture you take, they look like themselves. And so you kind of like split Safi out of them by like double exposing the photograph. Yeah. And so that's primarily what you're doing is like these trippy scenes in combination with trying to split Safi out of these people.
Yeah, and it's Lucas, it's Moses, it's Vin. So like your main cast of characters, like Gwen, it's the people that you've seen. Amanda, it's the people that you've seen.
Yeah. You do get kind of a interesting moment with Amanda in the bar, I feel like, where it's just kind of she's just chilling in the bar. Like what the thing that you kind of realize as you're being scattered in between the weird dream state and the world is that everyone that's in it is like aware. Like they're all aware. This isn't like the V1 game 1 dreamy state where it's all made up and in your head. These people are like the actual Amanda and the actual Moses, and you know, so you get like scenes with Amanda and you get scenes with like Vin and Lucas where they're actually very frightened of like, oh my god, what's going on, because they're actually living it, which I feel like
and it's
is
this like
interesting.
weird trippy school.
Yeah.
Like they're in their same setting, but then it's like this weird and trippy scene.
Yeah. You like finally find her and you chill with her a little bit while you're having this conversation where again she sounds kind of evil, and then you realize that there's one last piece of Safi that you haven't found and it's literally inside Max, so you have to like double expose yourself. And there's like a really weird moment with you and Safi where she's like, is it weird that I like that there's a piece of me inside of you, which felt way more intimate than we had been with Safi the whole time.
It did feel like more of a friendship thing, but it still was like a very intimate friendship.
Yes,
thing
it didn't feel sexual. It just felt like intimate, like very intimate. Yeah.
And then you
and then
double
the storm
expose.
ends.
Yeah.
Right?
And the storm ends after you like take the last bit of yourself out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get your final like quote unquote ending choice
Mm-hmm.
where Safi is like, okay, I am going to go like help other people with
She's gonna
powers.
Start the Avengers. She's gonna go start the Avengers.
She's like, I didn't know that there was other people like me until I met you, and I want to help people like us and like help them understand their powers because we're like awesome. And I
better than other people, she like says.
Yeah. So she kind of gets like a little like freaky.
Elitist.
She gets like a little freaky there. And you can say, yeah, go do your thing, or you can say like, don't do that. Essentially, you either like say,
like, I'll wait for you, baby.
For you.
Yeah.
You just say, I'll be here for you, or I won't be here for you.
Yeah.
And I thought that was lame because I thought like a cooler thing could be like letting her live in the dead or alive timeline. Which we kind of talked about, where it's like, I think the more interesting choice would have been, okay, now that we're in this state and Safi has control of her powers again, which reality should we stay in?
Yeah, because they each had pros and cons, right?
Because they each have pros and cons. In Dead World, everybody thinks that Safi is dead, so Safi might be able to have that clean break and that fresh start that she wants in this Dead World. And so there's like a pro to that. You also have Moses, who's become like your best friend in this whole game.
But you're not dating Amanda.
And then Living World, you're not really friends with Moses. Safi, like everybody remembers that Safi's this fucking freak. And like and you are dating Amanda. So I think it would have been like a more interesting choice. Like to have that be the ending choice.
Yeah.
And living with the consequences of that. Because they could have gone like for the emotional gut punch. And in Living World, if you choose it, like you literally are not friends with Moses. Because he doesn't know you.
Yeah.
And you don't know him.
I think that's a good point. Even if they didn't go that direction, like the crux of that final choice doesn't really do much. Like you get some dialogue at the end scene in like a bar, which we can talk about, but it doesn't really, it's not like an emotional heavy hitter in the same way.
No.
Yeah.
It's
just
not.
didn't. Yeah.
And I do think that living in Dead or Alive Safi world is also not like quite as emotionally devastating as whether you kill your best friend or save her.
But at least it's impact.
But it is impactful and it is an interesting choice, you know?
Yeah, totally.
And it's kind of like, yeah, I think it's more interesting. But anyways, that's not what happens.
No.
And
everybody merges.
So what happens is the timelines merge and everybody remembers both.
Yeah. Which is quite trippy, I'm sure, as those individuals. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then the very last scene is Max and Moses have gathered all of your main characters in Amanda's bar, and Max is going to
tell them
explain everything.
I still don't know. I honestly still don't know.
Well, no, it's like the thing that the way they frame it is like tell them everything. But then when you go into the bar, you have all of these one-on-one conversations that feel like goodbyes, essentially.
All of mine were also super depressing, except for Vin and Reggie. Vin and Reggie were like a happy couple. And everybody else hated me, which is a little upsetting.
Moses liked me in this one.
I don't know why Moses hated me.
I don't know why he was a little bit lukewarm on you.
Yeah, because like what I got was, so Vin and Reggie were together because I had kind of set them up after I turned Vin down. Amanda was feeling like maybe her consent was ignored because she told you she didn't want to be with you.
That was so sad.
It was actually quite devastating. And again, like Amanda was such a good character because she, I feel like, knew herself really well and her boundaries.
Yeah.
And this was the moment where I kind of felt gross a little bit because she was like,
brought up a good point.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, that's a really good point. That like
she was like, I rejected you in one world and you went to the next and like still dated me.
Yeah, and it still ends on a note where she's like, let's get to know each other again. Like it's just not like a full turn you down.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's definitely more negative and it made me feel bad because, I mean, she's not wrong. Amanda's not wrong.
Yeah.
Diamond was mad at me. I can't remember why, because I didn't take a note on it, but she was like a little annoyed with me. And then I think maybe because Vin had decided to continue running for president. And
in mine, Vin is out.
Okay, yeah, Vin continued to run for president in mine.
But Diamond was still mad at me.
Oh, okay, well then I don't know why Diamond was mad.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, Moses was disappointed in me because he was upset. Like, the phrasing he gave was, my friend is so scary. Like, the Safi that I knew, that's horrifying. I'm worried she's going to come back and kill me. And you just told her to come back. Like, why would you do that? And that's like the vibe that I got from him, which also felt very lukewarm, negative. Yeah. So I got all of these things that were fairly negative, and then it's supposed to be kind of framed in a hopeful way because it's Max sticking around this time and telling the truth, but everyone hates me. And I was just like, okay, I guess.
Well, also, like, weirdly, like, after you have these conversations where you're, like, saying goodbye to these characters, you have a last pep talk with them as a group.
Yeah, it's weird.
You're like, I literally thought I just said, like, with Gwen, like, literally we had just said, like, goodbye, essentially.
Oh, I didn't have Gwen. Yeah.
Oh, I had Gwen. So I had Gwen, and I gave her back the flash drive and told her to fight it.
My Gwen was gone because she was fired and went on a road trip with her wife.
Oh, okay. See, and mine was still around, and I gave her the flash drive and was like, everybody knows that Safi's, like, got powers, and you can use this as proof. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's at least a positive ending. I guess my Gwen ending was positive. Okay, I'll give that. I got one positive ending.
They're both positive versions of the story. But yeah, then it was like this weird, like, last pep talk, and I was like, huh.
It was weird. Yeah. Weird and then you have like a post-credit scene in which Diamond might have powers, question mark.
Which you get you kind of get a hint at because you learn that people with powers aren't as affected as other people with... You are as affected by powers as other people without powers.
Yes.
Like, Safi's powers had not really impacted Max in the way that they had impacted other people. Yes. And you get a quick scene in your Dreamworld sequence where Diamond is more with it than everybody else. Mm-hmm. And You're so... Right. You kind of get a hint that maybe Diamond has something happening, and then the last post-credit scene is, you know, I feel like Safi is like evil Professor X from the X-Men or something. That's what it feels where like, she's like, honestly. Hello, you have powers. Let me show you the way.
Come with me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Come to my school for kids.
To be fair, like, I liked Diamond enough. She wasn't my favorite character, like, in a ranking, but I liked her. So would I play a game with Diamond as the lead? Yeah, probably. But it felt just weird. And then it was like, Max Caulfield will return.
Yeah, that was pretty cheesy.
Which is so cheesy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then that's the end. Done.
Yeah, then that's the end. All right, let's do our wrap-up thoughts.
Okay, wrap-up thoughts. Likes. Again, music. Writing was better. Graphics, beautiful, even though the handheld made it a little janky because it was heavy on the graphics processing. I liked that the murder mystery this time was somebody we knew and were, like, connected to instead of, like, Rachel Amber from the first one was very disconnected from us. So I liked that. Yeah. I thought the back and forth powers through the timelines were amazing. I love parallel timelines, so literally all about that shiz.
Yeah.
And then I thought the characters in this one, I loved so much more than the original. The characters were really good. The dislikes were pretty much everything Chapter 4 and 5 had to offer.
Yeah.
It was just, the ending did not land, did not hit. And that... honestly, it's a little disappointing. And then, of course, the choices being meh overall.
Yeah, having, like, meh impact. I agree.
Yeah, so those are my like, main likes and dislikes. I would give it... I vaguely remember what I said last time, but I honestly don't. I think I'd give it, like, a 7 out of 10 for me. But again, I don't have 10 on the website. I'll work through that. So I would round up to a 4 instead of a 3 because I liked the characters so much more. And even though the last couple of chapters I don't think stuck the landing, I was still really excited and happy playing it most of the time. And I'm not a person who really liked Chloe, so I honestly didn't care that I had killed Chloe, and I didn't care that she was gone. So I feel like that didn't hit me like it hit other people. What about you, Maddie?
I liked this game overall. Like, I was very into it. It was like a nice little escape. I thought the story just really drew me in from the beginning. And I also, the one thing that I'll mention that I think is really interesting is I have the same feeling where like 4 and 5 are kind of a mess to me, in my opinion, for the reasons that we talked about. And this is what makes me think why the critic reviews are so high, because typically critics don't finish games, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're only playing like the first 1 to 2 chapters,
it's really good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
And then your third chapter, that Amanda scene is like one of my favorite scenes I've played in a video game in a while. Like, I loved that. And I loved the character of Moses. Like, I thought he was such a good character as well. And I thought the chimney scene was also like one of the better video game scenes that I've experienced in like a while. So I think there were some really high highs in this game that helped carry it through for me, even through the mess of like the story resolution. And the bummer of the impact the choices had, which we had seen even through just me streaming it to you and like having the exact same outcome from very different choices. And so I think it just could have used a little bit more of that aspect to it. I did really like it. I would say the cat content was like cute. I'm glad that I had it and I got to experience it because I think it was cute, but I wouldn't say that it was a whole $30 more of gameplay.
Yeah.
That's kind of wild to me.
When you said $30, I was like, ugh.
That's wild.
Crazy.
That's quite wild. But maybe they'll do more with like a DLC or something. I don't know what they're planning to do.
No idea.
But I overall did like it. I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. I would give it a 3.5 if we had 0.5s, but I'm doing the opposite of you. I'm not rounding up, I'm rounding down because that's where I trend in my heart.
Well, and you had the Chloe thing, so you had to go through that whole thing with the Chloe thing.
Exactly. And like the story just felt so weird with Chloe alive.
Yeah.
And one thing that I forgot to mention is at the very end, there's like news articles about the like weird storm in Vermont. And Chloe texts you, "Are you okay?" And then Max like purposefully doesn't reply to her as like a moment of quote unquote growth. But even the journal, like it doesn't have the emotional impact of Max writing to her dead best friend. You're writing to your alive best friend
who dumped you because she wasn't really that into you.
Like every step of the way just felt a bit cheapened by Chloe being alive. So I wish they would have just like ripped the band-aid and like stuck with the ending that made more sense, which we noted even in the first playthrough where the ending with Chloe dead had so much more thought and like emotional impact.
Like the final cutscenes.
Then the scene with Arcadia Bay dead where you literally just drive off in Chloe's truck.
Yeah. Well, and I really do think if they wanted to farm content for money, y'all, in this capitalist society, make this game literally be the follow-up to like Sacrifice Chloe, and then make a different game that's a follow-up to like Sacrifice the Bay. Like, come on, people would eat that shit up. Like,
they
would
eat it up and make them like pretty different.
Yeah, it would super different.
Yeah, it would be really interesting. I totally agree with you. That would have been so the way to go. People would eat that shit up. You would make both sides of your fandom happy.
Yeah, and people would probably play both sides because it'd be interesting to see how it goes. You could talk about like weird Easter eggs, similarities and differences between the two. Like, come on.
Yeah, because like what if in that world Chloe and you are still dating, but then you have this like lackluster relationship?
Yeah.
And maybe Chloe likes Amanda. and has a crush on Amanda in this world. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
And Amanda likes you. And then it's a love triangle.
We do love real love triangles, not the fake love points, whatever. Love triangles.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
So overall, 3 out of 5 cats.
I think it sounds right. Oh, I didn't give mine a name, but I don't remember what I gave it.
4 out of 5. I can't remember what you said. Did you say Moses? Telescopes. Maybe it was telescopes.
4 out of 5 telescopes. We'll just keep it that way. That seems fine. I don't know what I said. It's too late. And we got another 2-hour long episode for you guys.
Yay! The previous one was 2.5.
Oh, so we did good this time. And I feel like we were snappy. I feel like that was
Yeah, we were more snappy. So, okay, should I close it out?
Yeah, close us.
Okay. Thank you for listening to our podcast. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe and rate it. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Baddy Breakdowns, and visit our website, baddybreakdowns.com, made by Bridget. The podcast art was done by Tanisha Vernikar, and the podcast was edited by me. And I also made our theme song. Join us next time to hear us two baddies break down Fields of Mystria.
Yay.
Cozy.
I've put 16 hours in it so far. Exciting.
I've not started it. Typical.
That sounds right. I'm trying to at least finish the first year. I'm trying to get like a full cycle in.
Nice. Okay,
So.
I will do that too.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, my 16 hours, it's 8 hours on one gameplay save and 8 hours on a different one. And I'm at like the end of summer. So
okay,
that's about where I
Okay,
am.
great. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Bye.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.